What is up, guys? It's your boy Lance, back at it again with a new One Punch Man the Strongest review. This time we're looking at one of the most popular tanks in the game, Carnage Kabuto, also known as Ashura Kabuto. Now, a brief introduction into our subject. His pros: he is considered one of the top tier tanks. Others are Tank Top Master as well as Alloy. So he is considered one of the most wanted, or to a different extent, essential character. So most people will say your lineup is not complete without Carnage Kabuto. That's just how essential he is and versatile he is to be inserted into multiple lineups. So his main shtick is reflect and healing. So you can either one-shot him or it's death by reflect. That's why Boros is known as a popular counter to Carnage. He is on the apex of PvP and PvE as a main tank. Then his keepsake, which provides a massive boost in healing, is available quite early in the game. So it's usually within the first 3 to 4 months if I'm not mistaken. And often repeats, but it's only purchasable through funds. So if I'm not mistaken, it has repeat twice. So the cons: he has a long wind up. So his early game is pretty bad. So early game is around the first 1 to 2 months. So that's when you start to really train him properly, get him up to speed. So unless you're lucky with dupes and you manage to 5-star him quite early, you actually feel a little bit underwhelming. So a strong Boros will also be able to kick him to oblivion. That's why positioning is very key in the lineup. You don't put Carnage in front of Boros unless you have 100% chance to unmute, which is impossible in the game currently. And you want him to survive long enough that he is able to reflect the enemy and protect your backline. And he also competes with LSSRs for an ET slot. ET slot meaning extreme training. So in the grand scale of importance, I will put LSSR above CK, but at the same time, it's debatable whether CK is better or not. Just because CK is available through Elite and Epic pools, I put him lower than the LSSR. Because LSSRs are only available within their limited time banner. So I would put CK higher if not for this condition. Now, abilities breakdown. His passive: very simple, straightforward, Kabuto armor. So when attacked, he reflects 20% of the damage taken, and the reflect damage is extra damage. Then when you upgrade to his extreme passive at 5 stars, he reflects 30% of the damage taken, so it's a 10% increase. And then damage over time does not apply to his passive. This is a sub note. So Glory Bars, Vaccine Man comps, a hard counter to Carnage Kabuto before dot resist memory is complete. So let's have a look at his passive. So you can see the reflect value, there we go. And then his basic attack is known as Rigid Arm. He hits a single target for 120% damage, and he deals an additional 8% of his max HP as extra damage. So this is what it looks like. So as you can see that the extra damage passive actually show there. Moving on, we have his patented ultimate, Kabuto Nako. He attacks a single target for 210% attack, heals himself for 20% of his max HP, and has a 100% chance to injure if the second phase of the attack crits. So the second phase meaning his uppercut. So this is what it looks like. So that uppercut, if it crits, it actually has a 100% chance to land injury. Now for his Ultra Ultimate, he attacks a single target again, dealing 262% attack. So it actually has a 52% increase, which is really good. He heals himself for an extra 15%, totaling to 35% of his max hit points, and as the same as the previous ultimate, he has 100% chance to injure if the second phase crits. So this is what it looks like, and I think it's pretty sick. So, meta-analysis. Let's go. Welcome back everybody to a new episode of meta-analysis. This time we're going to be reviewing CK, Carnage Kabuto. So here's mine. So, I would consider my CK on the lower spectrum of the high tier CK. Most people have already brought him to 2 million BP. Mine is already at 2 million HP. So it's considerably okay, but it's not the best it can be. So skill level is at 16. Most people have reached higher than this. Awakening 3, I'm gonna stop here actually. Journey, I can't finish this because of Boros. And then talent 3, Unyielding has been unlocked. So I put Vitality Sigils on him, some Piercing Sigils because I do not have Sharp Sword. So, when we talk about Carnage Kabuto in the meta, some people define Carnage Kabuto as the meta because he's a very good unit that actually transcends multiple metas. So he's good all the way from CE meta in the beginning up to more or less Giro meta. Over there he starts to fall a bit because max HP damage starts to actually be more prevalent in the meta, starting with Gyro's Ultra Ultimate where he reduces max HP, and then Dot is also becoming more prevalent with the introduction of ATT, so CK starts to have a little downward spiral. So before that, he seems to be a decent, he drops towards a B tier, I would say, in terms of character rankings from a SS tier, just because I think not every SSR actually transcends so long, and CK actually has been up there for a pretty long time. Once Genos is out, as long as he doesn't get one shot, he's still viable. Other than that, once ATT is out, once Gyoro is out, actually he starts to go a little bit downwind. The reason for this being is that tanks are not really prevalent anymore. It's more towards either one shot or get one shotted. So we're back to major speed meta in the overall game. So looking at this, I would say if you're in Southeast Asia now and you just got Carnage, I suggest you just don't bother with him. If you try to train him now, you're going to be in trouble because there's Goketsu coming out. And if you're saving for Goketsu, you might as well just throw Carnage under the bus. If Carnage Kabuto is your main character, I think you can keep at it because he's already up there, so why not? But be ready to detach from him because you might have to reverse him or might have to drop him from the main lineup eventually. It's only a matter of time. Okay, now looking into his regular insignia and keepsake, you should have 3-star by now. If you don't have it, I don't suggest you get his keepsake anymore for reasons I've explained just now. And definitely try to 4 or 5-star his insignia because the extra max HP actually benefits a lot due to his reflect passive. So for gears wise, most people say suit is the best, and I completely agree. If you have HP percentage, that's the best. If not, just get whatever you have flat HP. And then for buff gears, definitely HP. I only have 1 HP orange, unfortunately, which is very sad. If you can get orange and orange here, it's fine. Do take note that HP grappler, I don't think there's any other grappler that requires HP that desperately. So you can actually slot it into CK first. For dragon level HP, the only character I can think of that's dragon level and can use HP is most probably CK. Anyways, we're gonna see what is the main role of Carnage Kabuto. So we're going to go for an arena hit. Let's go against the number 2, 3, 4, 5, and then show 1 battle. So it starts off with his team actually outspinning me by 3 characters, which is not uncommon. It happens very often. So Carnage is just here to soak up damage and reflect as best as he can, while my other characters actually take him out. So both Carnages are actually working well as a reflector, but my Carnage I would say is working better as a tank. So actually Carnage doesn't really do much except be a tank now. His reflect value is subpar at best, because enemies all have zombie man core, so their healing actually negates Carnage's reflect value quite a bit. And if your enemies don't do enough damage to you, your reflect value actually is very little. So my thoughts on Carnage as in the current meta. I would say he's still a very solid option for tank, especially in Pig Arena as well as Monster Arena. But once Giro as well as the next few characters come out, he might see a steep drop in terms of usability. Just because for Monster Tournament you have Phoenix Fan as a better tank, so you can slot in more attackers. Then you also have Giro core, so you'll be able to have high HP on every character regardless. So it kinda negates the need for a tank, because every character will be somewhat very tanky. And the sad thing is that Carnage is one of my favorite characters. He will still have a place in the meta, he will still have a place in Monster Tournament, in your arena lineup if you're lacking a tank. But it seems like his time is up, and it's a little bit sad, but it is what it is. That's just how the game progresses. Yeah, not much else you can say actually. Just I'm not planning to go past 5 stars, just because I need to allocate more resources into my Garo. And you will be facing that problem too when more grapplers come out, when Goketsu comes out, when Bomb comes out, but that's like way long down the road. When SSR Amai comes out, there's always more grapplers to come out, so spend your resources wisely. And if you're pulling for Goketsu, you might want to start considering reversing your CK. This is just a suggestion. If you have a replacement tank, then you might start to look at reversing CK. If you don't have a replacement tank, don't reverse. But if you're getting Goketsu and you need the badges desperately, then you have to choose lah. Personally, for me, I cannot reverse Garo, that's for sure. I cannot reverse Silver Fang. I cannot reverse Amai because I need him for PvE, so I might reverse BK. But if I reverse BK, I have one less injury follow-up for PvE. So it's completely up to you. Personally, I will keep my CK as long as I can until I see that he's unfit for the meta, and I suggest that you follow this as well. Because he's actually still pretty good, it's just that it's really hard. And I also suggest that you get dot resist as fast as possible, and you get as many of the monster and grappler HP memories done if you have not done it. Get your CK as big as you can, and then just go from there. That's the best advice I can impart to you. That's it for this session on meta analysis, and we're back. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Material expense. limit break wise, you are highly recommended to 5-star him as soon as possible. As I said before, you should focus on getting him to 5 stars unless you have an LSSR that requires immediate attention. Something like a king, let me have a think. King, Zombie Man, Garo, Goketsu, those characters require immediate attention and are at their best when you limit break them as soon as possible. So unless you have those characters, please prioritize Carnage Kabuto for limit break. So you require a total of 239 shards and 343 badges. And then the 20 to 30% boost in reflect is quite substantial. That's why I'm asking you to rush this. It's common knowledge to most people, but a lot of people don't really know this. But Carnage Kabuto reflect actually increase. The 10% increase is actually substantial. So Awakening, 5-star is achievable without a doubt, but you're recommended to stop at 3-star. The reason being is that you're going to have a main signature monster after this, and I recommend you to choose an LSSR. You can choose anybody you want. Preferably, I would recommend between RMG, which is just for free to play. You have to 5-star RMG as a free to play player, or Goketsu for whales if you want to go one-shot Goketsu. So his value at 5-star will not match RMG. It will never match RMG because RMG's value at 5-star is absolutely ridiculous, and she should be your monster choice for 5-star. Your hero choice, I leave it up to you. There are many heroes down the road, but most people are looking towards Awaken Terrible Tornado. So a little additional information. Gears wise, your recommended suit 4 HP percent. Unfortunately, I do not have that, so this is the build I'm running now. And you can also run a broken set 4 HP percent, but it's not as effective as a suit, because suit you gain actually 10% every time you land an action, so you have extra healing, more health equals more reflect. Talent, your talent 3 special talent is unyielding, so you have a 50% chance to not die when your health drops below 0. And then your sigils, you should go for sharp sword or vitality. Personally, I've gone for piercing because I do not have access sharp swords. You can also run ultimate reduction. Buff gears, you should go for 3 HP. If you have orange, go for orange. I do not have orange, so I'm going for purple. Now, his major issues and drawbacks. So he's pretty hard to get. It's very luck based. And people like Potato Boy and Toijin can tell you that this is true. They have not gotten CK in Southeast Asia yet. And he's also in an awkward spot when Goketsu comes out, because Goketsu actually fills up a better grappler slot for Gero Core. And then you have 2 extra slots. So most people will slot in Flashy Flash and Garo, so that the team actually has major amounts of damage rather than relying on a tank to survive, because Gero Core actually gives every character extra 15% max health, if I'm not mistaken. So it makes almost every character tanky, so it kind of eliminates the need for a designated tank. And it's also not recommended in C if you just put him now, because the sheer cost of you to bring him up now when we are in a LSSR rush is not really good. If you're pulling for the Zombie Man rerun, which you shouldn't be, then definitely you want to extreme train him. When you pull Gyoro when he comes next month, you're going to extreme train him, so you won't have a slot for CK. And also dot teams are very prevalent now in Monster Tournament, and they really got him. Even with dot resist memories, he's still getting gutted. Just because Goribas Vaccine Man is still very disgusting. And then any form of speed is a lost condition. Why do I say this? Most Monster Tournament battles actually end up in a CK versus CK. So the CK with the most amount of health at the end of round 10 is the winner. And usually it's the CK that moves last that will have the extra 35% plus 10% from the suit. So 45% HP from his ultimate. So if you speed tuning and you did your grappler speed memory and he's not speed 6, you're gonna have a really tough time. That is it from me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. Tune in to the next video on Thursday. Peace out.